Hello. Welcome to everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, guys. Good to see you all.
I'm
letting people in.
So welcome to
Hello.
our Mindset Maps webinar today.
Hello.
And I think we do have a little bit of an echo, so I'm going to suggest for after the hello to put yourself on mute. That's quite a few people.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Natalie. Oh my God, I can't say that many names. But hello to everybody from all over the world. Welcome. Yeah, we have quite a diverse, amazing group from all over the place, from all the way from, I guess, Central Europe to Latin America, Central America, North America, Russia, North Europe, Western Europe. Wonderful. We actually have some people from the Middle East as well, and so we have simultaneous translation available for those of you Farsi speakers. So thank you for Toki for being here and translating. And I think we're actually going to get started. And one of the ways we always like to start every single business meeting, but also every single webinar, is just to settle in and settle down. And it's been a day for you probably, wherever you are, but maybe just kind of gathering your thoughts, setting an intention for this webinar, and bringing your focus to what's going to happen, and dedicating your attention, your body and your mind, so that you can get something really valuable out of what we are doing here today. And the plan is the following. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to Mindset Maps and where does it come from and why did we create it with Robert Dilts. And then what we are going to do is we are going to hear a little bit about the upcoming certification, which is starting in October on the 29th. And what I also want to do is round about at the middle of our session, we are going to actually do a demo session, a coaching session using the Mindset Maps tool with one of you. And we have a wonderful volunteer for that. So that's going to happen, round about in the middle of our session. And then, coming out of the demo, we'll sort of summarize what you've seen, and I will link back to the upcoming certification and we can look at any questions that you may have. So that's our plan for today. So let me start, maybe by, before I share my screen, just to make sure that everyone, we get properly introduced, because I know many of you, but perhaps not all of you know me. So my name is Feyer, and I'm actually an entrepreneur and a coach and consultant. I'm also an author and a podcaster, and I have been working with Robert for about 10 years. And around about 8 years ago, we've started thinking about the Mindset Maps tool. And the idea came because, both of us have been working around the world with all kinds of businesses. And many times what happens in coaching is that, there's a lot of talk and there's a lot of thinking and there are good solutions, but somehow the actions get stuck. because there is something with the mindset that doesn't let the change happen. And that often happens in, projects, in bigger projects when you work on change with the company, but it also happens on a one-on-one level. So about 8 years ago, we started working on a tool which would help consultants and coaches to work with mindset. And so let me share my screen with you and sort of get into our presentation here. So again, Robert says, mindset is the difference that makes the difference. That's his way to put it. My way to put it, why did we do this? For me, mindset is the only true revolution. So if you want to change something, if you want to create change in the world, if you want to influence how business is done, if you want to influence, a group of leaders, it will always get to the mindset at the end. And my problem personally, as a coach and consultant, was that I don't really have a tool that I can use to work the idea of mindset with my clients. And we have many kinds of tools. We have personality profiles, we have diagnostic tools, but nothing really focused on the mindset. So what we said is, Robert brings an amazing amount of experience that he has worked with people that, not many other people worked with, such as, maybe Steve Jobs from Apple, or Mohamed Yunus of the Grameen Bank. And what we said, okay, so what have we observed? What if we launched, a serious research project and talked to hundreds and then eventually thousands of these leaders? And some of them are very, very famous, like the ones on this slide, and others were just smaller companies, but also very successful, conscious entrepreneurs. So that was our main goal, that most of the entrepreneurs should be conscious entrepreneurs. Some of these iconic figures that you see here, we could debate how conscious they were. I mean, they have certainly created something amazing. So the reason we wanted to refer to people like them is because of the ability to perhaps create an amazing vision, or have a fantastic purpose, or to create a company that's world famous. So we are not exactly saying in the mindset maps that you need to become any one of these people. What we are saying is that they represent something that is important to the success. And so we think about mindset as kind of, it's almost like a dish that you're preparing, right? And you have the ability to put in different types of ingredients. And we kind of know, based on our research, and that was our main idea, what is the blueprint? So what is the mindset that you need in order to actually achieve your goal? Now, the problem is, or let's say the interesting challenge is that, there are different types of goals. So some people are interested in financial robustness of their business because they are a solopreneur. Others are interested in building a scalable business, right? So it's not just them, but they want to scale it. They want to have a bigger team. Yet others are interested in, increasing their personal satisfaction in the work that they do. Others are into this idea that I need to make a more meaningful contribution. I have already created wealth. I need meaning. Yet other people, they want innovation and more resilience in their business. So those are different types of goals. And what we have seen in our research is that depending on what is your current focus out of these, there's a different configuration of a mindset that is necessary to support you. So we like to say that the Success Mindset Map is this online assessment and development tool that helps you to better understand your own mindset and then make key adjustments necessary in order to reach one of these 5 goals that you see here. So we actually ask people, and you may have taken the inventory, I know some of you have, and it is asking you to decide what is your current focus. So just for a moment, coming back to taking a step back from the inventory. So who is this for? You know, it's essentially for people that are working in the development, personal development, team development, organizational development field. But it's also for business leaders who are leading in this field. So we can imagine that, you know, this Mindset Maps is very useful for somebody who's a private entrepreneur and is trying to start his company, or has achieved something with his company and is looking for the next chapter. It's also interesting for a business leader, and then basically the people who support these two types of people. So any coaches, any consultants, any HR professionals who are interested in mapping mindset. And as we said at the beginning, mindset is the one factor that makes the difference. So you definitely should be interested in mapping it, and definitely should be interested in influencing it. So what is this based on? Behind the mindset maps, there's a whole system. And obviously today is not the place and time to introduce in depth the system, but I just wanted to mention it, that there is a system which we call success factor modeling. And success factor modeling is essentially looking at the 5 fundamental areas of focus necessary for entrepreneurs to build a successful and also sustainable venture. And it is essentially a checklist of many important things, which first relate to yourself, then relate to your customers, then relate to your teams, then relate to any stakeholders, and they may be investors or other people in your business. And then finally, it relates to the partnerships that you want to create. And basically, the idea is that you need to pretty much know, understand, and work through each of these 5 fundamental areas in order to be successful in a business. So we have taken the success factor model, which is basically, again, a blueprint for how to be successful as a leader and an entrepreneur. Then we've done a lot of additional research to understand people's mindset. And these are all, again, conscious leaders. And then we basically put the two together. So we said, we know based on our interviews and modeling of thousands of people that people's mindset tend to have 3 levels: a meta level, a macro level, and a micro level. And again, those of you who have taken the inventory, you have gone through those levels, right? And behind the whole system, because you could say, okay, so I go do the mindset map inventory, but what is this going to compare my mindset to? Well, it's going to compare it to those successful leaders that we have researched and modeled. And it's also going to use the success factor modeling checklist. So all the questions are designed so that they capture the core important points regarding your venture. So as you go through it, you basically comprehensively go through all the important steps that are relevant for making a successful company. So that's how the mindset map was created and how we built on the circle of success. So one of the core things that is really important, and I think it's kind of the cornerstone of the mindset maps approach, is this idea that, okay, I have a current mindset, right? Let's say that's on the left here. And there's an ideal mindset. And the ideal mindset is related to a specific goal. So in other words, we are not saying that there is one ideal mindset that we all have to adopt. We're saying your mindset needs to be flexible and needs to change depending on your goals. And if you choose the scalable business as a goal, building a scalable business, there is a particular mindset that's going to be the blueprint, right? That's the ideal mindset. And eventually, when you become a MindsetMaps coach, and that's one of the things that we do in the certification, you get to learn these icons. So for example, here you see that on the meta level, which is this first circle, and we always say that the meta level is extremely important. So if there's something that's not right on the meta level, then as a coach, I'm going to focus on that. And here you see two things. The role needs to be clear and the ambition needs to be clear. So that means if I want to build a scalable business, but I don't have a clear ambition, I can't say, how many customers, how much revenue approximately, by when, with whom, I'm going to have a hard time at building a scalable business. Also, if I'm very unclear about my role in terms of, let's say, inside the business, what is my role with other people? Or, my partnerships, what is my role? What is their role? Or, how do I position my company in the marketplace? Again, it's going to be very hard to build a scalable business without those two things. And here you're going to see, okay, so this guy who's done the inventory, for him, he's okay, right? Like his ambition and his role seems pretty clear. It's lit up. But you see a couple of other circles, and this is actually a real example from the volunteer whom I'm going to coach in a little while. It's his report. He shared it to me before the webinar today. So you see that there are some other circles here that are not fully colored, but they are circled here in the ideal mindset, right? And so, one of them is actually sort of your ability to be resilient and reframing critics. And the other is getting regular feedback, this binocular here. So those two are not lit for our coachee here. So if I'm a coach and I'm going to work with him, one of the benefits that I'm going to have that is different from any other type of coaching when you don't apply the MindsetMaps inventory is that I'm going to have his report up front. So he will have gone through this self-assessment, and I can look at his results. And this is very interesting, right? Because I now know that, I want to have a conversation with him about his ways of resilience, achieving resilience, and getting feedback. And also, I can see that here there's a red circle. So that's also important from the point of view of building a scalable business, which is the sort of the venture builder micro mindset. And he has given a lower score for that. So I have now an indication what to work on. And so that's kind of the way we use the mindset map, right? Like illuminating the points and the differences that might make the difference for our coaching. That's just another way of looking at the same. So to kind of come back to just before we do the demo. So what I wanted to mention is that the MindsetMaps approach has these two parts. One is that you go on a website, right? And you can do the inventory. And most of you here have done your MindsetMaps inventory. And then you get some information about your goal and your strengths. But then there is what we call the premium report, which is really created for coaches, for people who are, more wanting to go more deep into the understanding of their understanding of their mindset results, and for the people who are supporting them, that are the coaches, right? So in this premium report, you will also have tools, not only the result, right? Like here is the ideal mindset, here is your actual mindset, but what are some things that you could do? And so those results are only available to people who are working with the premium report. So that's kind of created for the coaches. And then you will have these results in various visual forms that you can use before the coaching. So coming back to, we're just about to do the demo coaching. But before we do, I wanted to mention one other interesting area of the mindset maps, which I think is really unique. And this is this idea that we have different zones of competence. And, the outer circle is basically, just a waste of time when I don't like it, I'm not good at it, and I don't spend time doing it, right? Like, so that's really something that, that doesn't really play any role in my life at the moment. But then there might be things which we call an incompetence where I don't think I'm very good at it, right? For some reason. So let's say, I'm not very good at talking to customers, or let's say I'm very good at talking to customers, but I'm not very good at talking to people internally in the company. I'm not very good at talking to my team. And I'm not good at it. Maybe I don't even like it. And I might spend some time doing it, but I'm not doing it well. So that could be an incompetence. And so we kind of step through all these circles, and we get towards the end where I wanted to focus a little bit today. And we get to things like competence and excellence. So competence might be something that you're really good at, as opposed to the previous examples. Maybe you're very good at organizing, but you don't like it, right? So that's tough, because what might happen to you is that because it's a competence, other people see it and they start using you for it. Or because, in the company, there's no one else who does that, you get stuck in that role. So many times our coaches, have these competencies, but it's not really moving them forward, because the difference between a competence and an excellence is that you are not only good at it and spend time doing it for an excellence, but you also like it, right? So that would be then more like an excellence. But you could still get stuck, because think about it. We all have a vision and passion and mission in life. And if our vision, passion, and mission is not very clear, then even if I have an excellence, it doesn't really propels me forward. So one of the things, again, what the Mindset Maps does, and if you're a coach, you will appreciate this, is it will point to certain areas with your coachee where there are opportunities. And it will also, point to, what are some areas of excellence that could maybe be a genius eventually. But there is no genius without clear vision, mission, ambition, and also the ability. So that's what we are showing to the coachee in a very visual and powerful way. So again, as I'm beginning to do the demo, I would be looking at things like this. So I'm going to see, for example, all the micro mindset areas, such as self-motivator, team maker, product creator, and I'm going to see what the answers were. And therefore, is it an untapped excellence perhaps? Or is it, a genius? Or is it an excellence? So that's going to help me to prepare, right? And I was trying to do the same for today, to work with Gerardo, who volunteered who's one of our participants and volunteered to be in the demo, and we are just about to start that. So I was looking at his results, and the interesting thing was, one is here for the venture builder, he doesn't think he's very good at it at the moment, and he wants to build a scalable business. So that's something that's going to be very relevant. And also, what was also interesting to me is when I looked at his macro mindset results, I see that, he's ranked himself very high on being resourceful, having high energy, scanning for opportunities, but less so on getting frequent feedback and being determined and resilient. So, so those are some implications that I'm going to have before, starting my session with my coachee. And that's kind of how I prepare. I look through the premium report. I try to understand what I see. And when I meet my coachee, I can already use this information, and it makes things very, very tangible. So one of the things that we are going to learn in the MindsetMaps coaching certification that starts at the end of October is the process of coaching, MindsetMaps coaching. So what are the 6 steps? And today is not the place for us to review the 6 steps, but you will see probably the first 3 steps, which relate to creating a state, a good, what we call coach state, so that we both feel we are connected. Then, some sort of looking at, okay, so what is the intention? What is the goal? And then maybe a little bit of, what actions might be sensible. And again, Gerardo has already done the premium report. He sent it to me. I looked at the results, and these are some of the things that I see. And especially, I want to go back here. This is the comparison chart. So I know that he wants to build a scalable business. And I know that, there are some things here, like this venture builder, like, this idea of, being resilient and reframing criticism and getting feedback, that were low rated. So those are kind of my expectations. And so now would be a good time, I think, to do our demo. And then after our demo, we can kind of come back to the idea of, what's going to happen in the October certification. And maybe what we could do is I could pin myself and also find Gerardo and pin him so that you can all see the two of us. So hopefully now you all see the two of us. And again, before we start, what you guys are going to see is probably a 20 minutes version of a coaching session using the MindsetMaps tool. You're also going to see something that we do a lot in the MindsetMaps certification training, when we demonstrate something first. Typically, I would demonstrate it first for the whole group, and then we would go to breakout rooms and practice doing the same with another participant. So this is basically, MindsetMaps coaching using data and really starting to apply it. So Gerardo, thank you for being a volunteer.
My pleasure.
And thank you for being so open that, we've got quite a crew here. And maybe for all of us, right at the beginning, a good thing is to kind of go to remind ourselves to a field that we have created together virtually on Zoom today. So my invitation is, again, for everybody to kind of go inside yourselves for a moment and just connect to this idea of your center. So as you're sitting here, whatever hour it is today, where is your center? And then just connecting the breathing to that center. so that the breath goes all the way down to the center, going in and going out, connecting to the center. And then perhaps setting a little intention of what you would like to get out of this next 20 minutes. And Gerardo, I want to say, I'm honored to be the guide on the journey. And for the benefit of all of us, could you really quickly summarize, what is your objective? I mean, we've seen that it's building a scalable business, but if you could say in a few more words what it is that you were thinking of doing.
Okay. So I'm guessing, unlike most of you, I'm only learning how to be a coach. I haven't been a coach, but I am a graphic designer and a photographer. And I have clients of my own. I'm based in Mexico. I have clients in Mexico, but I have clients, many clients abroad too. I lived 10 years in Spain, so I have clients in Europe. But it's been a dream of mine to make a company, a photography company. I've been working with clients on my own, but I would love to have this photography company that is able to working in several projects at the same time. Of course, me and a certain team overseeing all these projects and participating creatively. But this is my goal, to build this photography company. Besides now becoming a coach, I mean, this is a side of this. But this has been a dream for me my whole life. Great. So the project I made the inventory with is this photography company. That's why I'm calling it a scalable company, scalable business. To be able to grow, to be able to have a team working on all these projects at the same time, and making it a successful business.
Right. And if we were to kind of put a timeline on this, when would you like to be successfully accomplished with having built this business? So by when would you like to build that business?
Well, at this point, I think it would take at least 3 to 5 years to accomplish.
Okay. So about 3 years from now, you already want to see some tangible results, but it might take a little more. And if you were to think of any specific results, so let's say, what would you like to see 3 years from now that would tell you that you are on the right track?
Well, the fact that we as a team, whoever is part of the team, are working in at least 2 or more, more than one project at the same time, and taking these projects to a successful end at the same time, that would be a very good indicator that we have achieved it, right? Or we are in the way to achieve it.
Okay, sounds good. And so we understand that it's got to be at least 2 projects parallel. It's a team. Right. I hear you. So one of the things that we like to do, and I would invite you to do that with me, Gerardo, is to stand up for a moment here, and we have heard the words of what does that goal look like, or what does that vision look like. But if you were to express with a gesture, with a physical gesture, what is your vision and what is your ambition, what would that be like?
Okay, so I think it would be this. It's not a hug. It's something containing different things. In this case, something containing different projects at the same time.
Right.
This would be my company.
Right. So you kind of hold it this way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Right. How does that feel during the gesture? I'm curious.
Well, it's it feels as that I'm able to accomplish, you know.
Right. So there's a feeling that goes with it.
Of course, yeah.
And where do you sense the feeling? I'm curious. Where? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Right. Okay. So that's kind of our gesture, and I wanted to just for a moment go back to this page where we were looking at your comparison chart.
Yeah.
Because it's really interesting. Here what we can see is that the role and the ambition is clear, but there's two things on the macro side, which is feedback and also reframing criticism. So you gave a lower ranking for that. Can you share a little bit why you gave a lower ranking?
Well, about the feedback, I know how to take criticism, but I don't look for it often enough. It's okay if someone thinks what they think about what I'm doing, but it's not that often that I seek for that feedback, and I should do it a little more. It's only about being honest about these low points, and I think I don't look for it enough.
Right. Which then takes us to this interesting question, because I sense some sort of a relationship. So you say, I don't look for it enough. And then, we've got this other icon here, and the other icon is for, this one here. Let me just kind of go back to this slide. It's basically being determined and resilient. So you gave a lower score for that. Can you share?
I think right now I think I would be able to improve a lot my how disciplined I am, to achieve all these things. Those are definitely my two points to get better at.
Right. So typically, by the way, I'm speaking to you, but also to everyone else here. So typically what happens in coaching is that, especially if you have somebody self-aware and conscious like Gerardo, he knows, like, I know I should get more feedback. I know how to take it, but I'm not, so there's a but. Or, I know I should be more resilient, but. So I'm just wondering, what's the but? What's in the but?
Well, I think it's just it might be just a moment in my life where where I'm lacking, or sort of lacking these traits,
Right.
As I told you sometime before, I was living I lived 10 years in Spain, came back to Mexico, but I think I regret coming back to Mexico. So there's a situation here that it has put me in this personal and inner situation,
Right. I hear you, and that's where that's the but. So there's, I know I should be doing this, but and then there is some kind of an obstacle.
Right.
Yeah. And also, as we are kind of honing in on this idea of what's the obstacle, the third element that the Mindset Map report pointed to was the venture builder side. And you said in your answers, you said, I like it, I spend time doing it, but I'm not all that good at it. So share more a little bit.
Well, I think based on what I just said, right now I have had other companies before. I have had other ventures, but right now, because of what I just said, I haven't been that good in creating a venture, you know. So I
Right.
think this venture, creating a venture thing, or the lack of it, comes as a result of the things that I said before,
Right.
you know, of this
Absolutely.
low point in other things that I have, right?
Right. Absolutely. No, I hear you. And again, speaking to you and also for everybody, you're beginning to hear a pattern, right? Like all the lower answers in the inventory are seemingly pointing to a pattern that's kind of related to how you are thinking about your comeback and what that means to you. And, you know, so that sort of heavily influences your mindset and maybe in ways holding you back if I get it right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to invite you again, Gerardo, to maybe stand up. Because again, you know, everybody, you've been hearing the words, you know, we kind of conceptually understand something here, but it's much deeper. It's in our mind body system. So I'm curious, Gerardo, if for a moment, either, you know, if you were to close your eyes, or if that's not very comfortable, just soften your eyes and reconnect to the breathing. And sort of really settle down into yourself and connect to your center. And then allowing yourself to connect to an intention, a vision that you have always wanted to do, is to build a company, a designer and photographer company where you have a team and you make a difference for many clients at the same time, and really sense the gravity of that connection, how it's pulling you like a magnet into the future. And also maybe sensing the connection between us, for me to be here as your guide and partner and mentor. I'm happy to do so, it's an honor. And now, you know, with your ability, you've showed this wonderful gesture of, you know, holding something, maybe allowing to come the presence of whatever that is in your mind, that is holding you from, I want this, but just allowing this to enter and not judging it. I'm sure it makes sense. You know, something is really trying to be heard and come out. And so I'm just wondering if you were to let yourself, again, your body, to express, you know, what is in your current mindset holding you from being able to access your venture builder that is actually a strength. And instead of words, you know, maybe what is maybe if you were to show, let's try this. If you were to show with your body right now, the way you stand, you know, that mindset that holds you back, what is that mindset? How does that look like? Yeah. Yeah.
It would be my intentions that are held back, trying to come out.
And if for a moment, you know, you put your hand together and you know, just before they open, at that moment, and you know, sort of, you know, let the tension go out of the gesture. Just hold the hands and sense the positive intention of whatever that is that tells you, well, you shouldn't have come back, but you did. What is the positive intention for that movement? Why is it keeping you stuck? What is the good intention? What is it trying to tell you, teach you, you sense?
Well, I think there is just a lot to learn from all the experiences, and that's what I have to do. You know, to look at the good things that had happened to me all this time since I came back, and not what I didn't want, but even though I did, you know.
Right.
And I have many things, many good things behind me since the moment I came back. So I think I need to embrace those.
Yeah.
You know.
So maybe let's just do one last act together. Is if you were to start like this with your hands, and then whenever you're ready, stepping into this future 3-4 years from now, and as you do, open your hands as you did, and sort of really experience the journey into the embrace and then the building, right?
Yeah, feels liberating.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, exactly. So if for a moment you kind of turn and you look back on your younger self, Gerardo, standing 2021, in this webinar, what would be the advice that you would give to yourself from here?
Oh, just let go and continue your journey. You know, don't regret things. Just embrace whatever good thing came out of it.
Right. Okay.
No?
So let's go back to your current self and into the room. And as a final question, what would be one thing that you could do, you think, to start letting go? Like something simple and easy that you could do tomorrow, this week, letting go.
Well, I think that would be well, one of those things would be to maybe even a physical exercise,
right?
To write down, write down all the good things and the bad things, and just look at that list and become aware of all the good things that have happened.
Actually, absolutely. Yeah, I would really second that, especially writing down the good things and kind of doing it as maybe you could do it as a daily habit for a while and see how that helps you.
Right.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mickey.
Thanks, Gerardo.
Thank you.
So, friends, that was sort of the approach that we would take, and obviously this was very compressed, but the idea is that we start with something that's very tangible, because the report is measurable, tangible, you can see it. It's something that the person goes through himself before we meet, and then we discuss it, and it takes us right to the point where you have to tap. I like to say that metaphor, knowing where to tap as a coach, as a consultant, is very, very important. So that was really, the first couple of steps of the MindsetMaps coaching process, which is then helped by this tool. And I want to go back to our slides for a moment, one more time. If you give me 1 second. Yeah. So kind of coming to the idea of that there is a certification that's starting, and the certification is going to be of 6 modules. And the first module is going to look at the 5 goals and focuses that you have seen here today regarding the circle of success. Then the second module is going to look at the actual coaching process. And you have seen a little bit of the coaching process today, which is the establishing a coach state, establishing a good state, then setting some kind of an intention, and then exploring and understanding the results of the inventory is always part of that. And then towards the end of that process, we always want to kind of think about actions. And one of the things that we do is that we sort of balance the ego and the soul. So as you have seen, we talked about specific goals, and at the very end, it's a specific action. But we also want to look at sort of the embodiment side of things and generate maybe different ideas. So then in our next module after that, in module 3, we actually look at the success factor modeling, the circle of success, and really intensely review it and understand what is the theory built behind the MindsetMaps tool. And then in the 4th, we actually go to what we call the applied MindsetMaps coaching. So we look at some of the 49 tools, and today you've seen one tool, which is this idea of stepping into the future using a timeline and maybe doing some more backtracking from here, which today wasn't enough time for. But so there are 49 of these tools, and we explain how the tools are structured, and depending on your results, the system recommends different tools. Most of these tools are, by the way, requiring a coach to be there to work with. And then, in the 5th module, we really kind of put it all together and practice coaching sessions. So you would be doing coachings like today, and with some supervision from your peers, and also us trainers, we move around into the sessions and give you some feedback. And then we also go to a module 6, and module 6 is looking at what we call the admin, backend, and dashboard, because there's a whole side of the MindsetMaps tool, which is basically letting you access the results of your clients, where you can look at history. And we are also building new tools. Right now, it's an individual tool that you can also use with teams, but soon there will be a team report and also a leadership mindset report, which will be a little more focused on people who work in an organization rather than being an entrepreneur in a private sector. So that's kind of the 6 modules. They will always start at 1 p.m. and go till something like 2.5 hours. Actually wrong, 3 hours, and the pre-work is 2.5 hours. You can see the dates here, but you can also see the dates on our website. I should probably put in the chat the website address, and I can also send it to you afterwards. So that's sort of the structure. One other thing that I wanted to sort of show you is, so from your point of view, I mean, you could ask at this point, okay, I've seen a demo, kind of understand, so why should I certify as a professional mindset map coach? And for us, the answer is that, this is a tool that really connects generativity and measurability. What does that mean? It means, some of the things that we were doing here, they're called generative because they make you stand up, because they make you use multiple intelligences, right? Because you're using your hands and gestures to express something. And we know that, the subconscious makes 95% of our decisions. So by doing the generativity, you really get access to that. But it's also measurable. You can see it. It's on paper, so to speak, virtually, and you can see the results. So you could take the MindsetMaps inventory several times. I could ask Gerardo now to go on do the practice of reminding himself of good things, and then we could take the mindset map inventory in 2 months and see if there is progress. The second reason is knowing where to tap. So I think there's something very powerful about the tool, that it really takes you to the area that you want to tap on, and that helps you to move the client. And sometimes it requires some discussion on the results, and you might even adjust the results and take the inventory again. But that's exactly the idea, that we figure out where to tap together. Thirdly, we believe that it's expansion of business for a coach and consultants. It's a global community. I mean, there's around about 60 people already certified, and the tool is going to come out in Japanese, French, Italian, German, Spanish very soon. So we are really seeing this as a global community. And to be honest, my secret hope personally, if you ask me, is that it's a really good Trojan horse into business to bring in this conscious and generative approach where, we're trying to help businesses to do more sustainable and more purposeful. And this is something that they understand and accept because it's more measurable. So I think I have probably said most of the things that I wanted to say. This is kind of a slide here at the end, that it's 30 hours. What's the value? So it's 30 hours of interactive virtual workshop training, and then up to your appetite, basically, from 15 to 30 hours of online training that you can do on your own. You get a copy of the generative consulting book. You get access to the coach web app, so our Mindset Map app for 6 months for $400 value. So you don't have to pay for that. That's included. You get your personal report, and you get additional 5. Again, that's got a $175 value. And then you get a copy of the workbook, which contains those 49 tools that we talked about. So there's a lot that you can actually get in the certification. I do want to pause and see if we can have time for any questions that anyone might have. So, any questions? Let me check if I put the gallery view on.
In a Farsi chat, we have the question is, how much is the course, the cost?
Right. Yeah, good question. So let me go to my final slide, which is this here. So now we have an early bird offer, which is $1,600 until the 15th of October. And then we go to $1,800. So that's our early bird price that's currently available. And it is available till the 15th of October. And essentially, you just go on the website here. And then there is a button there to register. Also, through the website, you can ask questions. I'm happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. I'm going to put an email address here for everyone, office@mindsetmaps.com, where you can also email if you have any questions. Oops, I sent it to not all of you, but to someone. That's not good. Let me try this again. So send it to all. So that's the price, and that's the timeline. What is the expected realistic timeline for the team and leaders version from Thomas? So it's going to be ready, I think, so first of all, those are two things. The team report is going to come first, and I'm very confident that it will happen by the end of November or early December. And the leadership profile is kind of the second step. And that will happen at some point in February. We've had, the good news is that there are so many people taking the inventory that we're actually growing faster than we had expected. So we had to upgrade the system from an IT point of view because there are really thousands now in the database, which is great because that's going to help us generate data and do some research on the data we have. But anyway, it also means that there is a timeline with which we can realistically bring out these new profiles. So hopefully that's an answer. Portuguese, well, so the idea, basically the idea is that we're happy to go ahead and make this available in any language in the world. The way it works is that we have partners. So if you go through the certification and you really like this and you're interested in kind of going to the next level, then the next level is, okay, I'm a certified coach. I can use this, but I'm interested in to bring this into Portugal or to Brazil or, whichever part of the world. And I want to become a partner. And then, we sort of go through a partnership discussion where, you become the regional partner for that language. So that is also doable. It's kind of the second step after the certification. All right. I'm trying to see if there is any other questions. Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, then thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Gerardo, for being open and be part of the demo. And I'm going to make this available, the recording as well. And also, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me at office@mindsetmaps.com. And you've seen the address for the certification registration. So, feel free to go ahead and do that as well. Thank you very, very much. And the best to everybody.
Thank you, Miki.
Thank you. See you soon, hopefully.
Thank you, Miki.
Thanks. Pleasure. All the best.
Ciao, Miki.
Thank you, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye now.
Bye for now. Take care. Thanks, Toki.